Welcome to a recap of the big news this week. I'm your host, Hal 9000. We'll look at some of the clips from major players in the discussion, and I'll be setting up each clip to provide some context. Now on with the show. The facts bore out that Charlie Kirk's killer was a leftist psychopath, but that didn't stop the media from misinformation and trying to spin the narrative that the killer was radicalized from his own base. Kimmel loses his job, which starts the online debate about cancel culture and that this could happen on the right and the left. Andrew Wilson makes the claim that the left never stops canceling.
It was not only very obvious that he was a leftist psychopath, but all the facts bore out that he was a leftist psychopath. They were trying to pin this on the right wing right from the beginning to kind of claim Charlie Kirk's radicalization of his own base. Ironically enough, it was his base who killed him. And that was what the narrative was that they were striving for. That is why there was suddenly a lot of pressure. And by the way, this is not the first time that Kimmel has been under fire on this network for comments that he's made. But it is the first time that there has been public outrage from the right, actually saying something about it and perhaps pushing this network to do something about it. What's really interesting is I see the left-wingers right now talking about cancel culture and saying, well, you guys aren't going to like this when the pendulum swings back and power the other direction. But what's really funny there, and what I don't really understand that criticism, the left never stopped canceling the right. They've never stopped doing it. Why would we ever assume that because the right doesn't engage in saying, okay, if you're going to make these irresponsible claims, you also are at the mercy of getting fired by your employer? Why would that have stopped the left if we didn't do that? What would the left have just been like, you know what? They're all right. We're going to stop getting them fired from everything, deplatformed, debanked, dehumaned from there. And the right's not even doing that. The left was going back 10, 20 years to find things to cancel people with, still do it to this day, do everything they can to besmirch people's character. They can't help themselves. And they apply political pressure on banking institutions, apply political pressure on financial institutions to completely deperson an individual, completely deperson them. So ultimately, the thing here that's funny is like the right's not even engaging in cancel culture. All they're doing is saying, okay, do you really want this person to represent your company? The company says, nope, we don't. That's really not cancel culture. That's not what cancel culture ever was. But it's not like, even if it was, even if we granted it, why wouldn't we fight back with it? The left isn't going to stop just because we don't do shit.
Gavin McInnes says that Kimmel's woke wife ruined him.
She's an insufferable liberal who ruined him, basically. Find me a man who sucks, and I'll find you the woke bitch that ruined him.
Rob Schneider breaks down the Kimmel case and says it's different than cancel culture.
There was no attempt in humor at all in what he said. And as a matter of fact, it was a lie. Now, as you pointed to, Will, since the 1960s, you have to get a license to broadcast. This isn't Netflix. This isn't cable. This is broadcast TV. And when you have broadcast TV, you have to, the airwaves are owned by the public. And to get that license, you have to be in the interest, like you said, of the public. And so that's why when there's a news van parked in the white zone, they don't get a ticket because they are there to present news to inform the public in the public interest. So what happens is 25% originally was supposed to be the news to inform it, just to get that license. So when you absolutely lie to the public, then you are no longer in the public interest, like Jimmy Kimmel did the other night. Right. Mislead and lie, and actually was something dangerous. So with the FCC chairman, he didn't say that he was going to pull the license. He was going to give them a warning and ask for an apology, if what I understood on the Benny Johnson show. And so that's not the government doing it. And when 246 different stations around the country say we're no longer airing this, it's because they heard from their consumers. They heard from their customers. And they said, that's it. We're not doing it.
Bill Maher talks to Billy Corrigan about Charlie Kirk and the nice people of the right.
And if you're on the other side of the political divide and you don't care because the wrong team guy got shot, you. You're what's wrong with this country.
I love when our country can yell, scream, point, cajole, mock. Anything past that, I just can't. I can't.
Right. Just the fight I have been having with the left. While I'm, of course, the irony, as a lot of people in my position, is still a liberal, just a traditional liberal, won't go along with their, like a lot of the stuff that's just crazy out there too far, which gets Trump elected, blah, blah, blah. As I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Took me a second. Sorry, I had to absorb that.
Okay. You know, they're the people who don't want to talk. It's my main issue with them. And Charlie Kirk was a guy who, like, he was always talking. And I talked to him here. You know, the right-wingers, say what you want about them, but they talk to you. They're not into this leftist think. The left really has much more of a, I don't talk to you, I don't want to deal with you, you're deplorable, I can't break bread with you.
Yeah.
That attitude, and like all the right-wingers, they don't have that attitude. No, again, I didn't vote for them. And Charlie Kirk and I certainly don't agree on much politically. But he sat here, he's a human being, he's not a monster.
And a husband and a father.
Yes, and I liked him. I liked them all. They're all nice people when you meet them in person, and they're not as crazy as they would, nobody's as crazy as they make them out to be.
Dave Smith reflects on Talking Heads and Jimmy Kimmel.
Like, I thought it was pretty appalling what he said, and so bizarre. There is this weird thing. Well, I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's because there's so many different groups here. So I just want to be specific. Like, I'm talking about liberals, like neoliberal establishment type people, not the crazy left wingers who are making TikTok videos about how glad they are that Charlie Kirk got killed or something like that. But like, I'm talking about like the people on CNN or the late night comedians, like the liberal Democrat Joe Biden supporters, where all of them, it seems like, or almost all of them, are like incapable of just saying like this was bad without trying in some way to politicize. I don't know if you saw Barack Obama's whole thing about all the awful views that Charlie Kirk held, of course, completely mangling and misrepresenting them. But it's just so bizarre to me that so many people have an issue in a situation like this with just being like, yeah, this was horrible. Like, I don't know. Listen, I'm, you know, this is not a political statement. If AOC had gotten shot in the neck and executed in front of a bunch of people, I wouldn't lead with, I really disagreed with her on the Green New Deal. But, you know, because like, even though I really do, because the only comment would be, oh my God, this is horrific. Like, she was an innocent person. She had a family. This is horrible. Anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel, of course, did this weird thing where he tried to make the bit about how it reflected poorly on MAGA trying to cover for one of their own. It didn't even make sense. There was no reason to suspect this was a MAGA guy who did this. All of it was dumb. I will say that I don't like the federal government or any government official to ever be talking about speech ever. I don't think any pressure should be put from the government on corporations. This is just, that is not what a professed free society does. And I think it's truly like a betrayal of the legacy of Charlie Kirk. For anybody, the idea of talking about hate speech, saying the word hate speech from the attorney general, that's how we're remembering Charlie Kirk. That does not seem right to me. And I wasn't his closest friend, but I knew him and was pretty familiar with his work. And there is something profoundly wrong about that.
Greg Gutfeld says the media paints a heroic picture of the shooter.
That was 2 days ago, so Kimmel had the chance to walk it back. But he can't. And why is that? Because to admit he was wrong on this calls into question his entire filter for interpreting reality. So it's better to live in denial, knowing the like-minded media won't press you on it. But we will. Hey, Disney shareholders, it may be time to thaw out Walt to put things right. No wonder your 5-year stock price looks like this. Bambi's mom has a brighter future. Then there's Matt Dowd, who got fired for saying Charlie Kirk had it coming. He found a new revenue stream. He's actually selling T-shirts with his quote on it. Who's going to buy that? I mean, besides the entire cast and crew of The View and Jimmy Kimmel. Not me. I have enough women yelling, take your shirt off. But this is who they are. They can't even let you have a moment of peace for the guy they murdered. In fact, a poll right after the arrest showed 41% of Dems believe the killer was a Republican, proving it's easy to lie to stupid people. That's how I convinced Don Lemon I'm a Nigerian prince. They literally can't conceive of their own side committing evil, even after a murder broadcast live. And remember that old guy they thought had taken the shot? He screamed that he was the shooter to try and let the real one get away. You don't hear about him much, do you? Why is that? Well, after being hauled in, they busted this leftist on child porn charges. But I'm sure the media will find something redeemable about him. Sure, he's a perv, but he's great with pets. So the same media that spent years dehumanizing Trump and his supporters finally find their empathy. Surprise, it's for the shooter, creating a narrative that makes murder feel like heroic, if misguided, activism. Even though most of these people have likely never heard a single word Charlie ever said, it's a false narrative creation like they did with Charlottesville when they claimed Trump praised Nazis. They knew it wasn't true, but they needed a story to protect their own irrational hatred of Trump, just like they need one now. So they paint Robinson as a tragic anti-hero instead of what he is, a murderous coward. In time, they hope the story will be rewritten. The hero becomes the villain, and the villain the hero. Makes you wonder how many other stories from history may be wrong. You want to bet all of them?
Thanks for watching.